Hello again. This is 829, Lecture 2. The title of the lecture is The Quadratic Formula. Sometimes we cannot factor a quadratic equation to solve it. But there is a way to solve a quadratic equation, in fact any quadratic equation, using the quadratic formula. Later in our course, we will discuss imaginary roots, but for now, we will discuss only the real root examples. This is the definition of the quadratic formula. The solution of any quadratic equation of the form ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0, where a does not equal 0 or else it would not have been a quadratic equation, are x is equal to minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. This is called the quadratic formula. Some notes are important about this. The first note, to use the quadratic formula, we must write the equation to be formed in the form ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0, so that a, b, and c can be identified correctly. Number 2, x equal minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a represents two solutions. X equal minus b plus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a, and x equal minus b minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Number 3 points out a common mistake. Notice that the fraction bar runs under the minus b and under the radical. That's the reason I keep saying minus b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. And so the 2a is over all of them. And this doesn't really apply to you, but when we derive the quadratic formula using completing the square, using the plus or minus allows us to say that the square root of 4a squared is 2a. Finally, the quadratic formula is a very important result. You will use it often, and it should be committed to memory. Okay, let's solve a quadratic equation using the quadratic formula. So we're to solve using the quadratic formula 2x squared plus 3x minus 1 is equal to 0. You in fact cannot factor this, and you will be required to use the quadratic formula. So let's begin. First question you ask yourself is 2x squared plus 3x minus 1 equals 0 in the form ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. The answer to this, of course, is yes. The next step is you must identify the values of a, b, and c and substitute them into the quadratic formula. From this example, we know that a is 2, b is 3, and c is minus 1. And then we're going to recall the quadratic formula. X is equal to minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. And now we're going to substitute the numbers in. So that is going to be equal to minus 3 plus or minus the square root of 3 squared minus 4 times 2 times minus 1 all over 2 times 2. Simplifying, this is minus 3 plus or minus the square root of 9 minus a minus 8 all over 4. Now minus a minus is a plus, so that ends up being under the radical 9 plus 8, or 17. And so the answer that we get then is minus 3 plus or minus the square root of 17 over 4. It is important for students to remember that there are two answers here. So the solution set is minus 3 minus the square root of 17 over 4. And the second solution is minus 3 plus the square root of 17 over 4. Some of my students would say, Jim, those are really ugly numbers, but they should remember that there are no ugly numbers, just like there are no ugly babies. All numbers are beautiful. Here is a problem for you to try yourself. Please solve 4g squared minus 2g minus 7 is equal to 0. I encourage you to stop the show, pause it, and to try this, and to resume the show to check your answer. Let's see how you do. Let's see how you did. The correct answer that you should have gotten are 1 minus the square root of 29 over 4 and 1 plus the square root of 29 over 4. How'd you do? In closing, remember, time is precious. Each day must count. Do the math. It will make you strong. More later, soon. Till then, please take care.